What's your opinion on the metagame of lore right now? What do you think of Aziralia? Care to give an opinion? Very interesting. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to my first CustomLOR card review. In the past week, Douglas has been hosting the first CustomLOR Championship, which is supposed to be a sort of celebration of CustomLOR as a whole, and I thought, as a CustomLOR mod, I should, probably get in on this. And as such, I've decided to have a little bit of a card roast, a sort of friendly banter on all the cards that have been submitted to this contest. So, hopefully I don't sound too harsh. When I say something, I mean it as constructive criticism, even if I say it in a sort of mean way. All I want to do is I want to see people who, I've noticed a lot of new people, new faces around submitting to this contest who haven't submitted before. And so what I want to do is I want to sort of help you out by giving you the constructive criticism you need and trying to point you in the right direction on where to go with the designs of your cards. So the prompt this week was to design the best card you could that told the story, like really told the story about either a region or a subplot in the League universe. And there weren't very many restrictions in that sense, and I think there was a record number of entries this week, and that's great to see. And without further ado, I think let's just get stuck into it. So I'm going to be reviewing these blind. I haven't seen these before, so let's see. There's only one winner this time. Interesting. So, first up we have Temple of the Colossi, an Ionia landmark with a token, it looks like. Spell shield on the landmark, interesting. Round start, summon a Shadow Fiend. When I've seen 16 plus allies die, destroy me to summon Dormin, the first Shadow. Instantly this feels like a Shadow Isles card. But I see where it's coming from. I see it's a tempo payoff, but it's an extremely expensive tempo payoff, considering that, for example, Azia's Dais summons on attack, so that's once every 2 rounds, and that costs 2 for a Sand Soldier. This costs 4 for a Shadow Fiend. And then, when I've seen 16 plus allies die, so immediately this doesn't count Blades, so that's a big problem. Summon Dormin, the first Shadow. Okay, I see, it's not supposed to be played with Blades. When I'm summoned, kill all other allied units, drive the strongest units that die this game. So it's got a harrowing on its body. Interesting. It's got very good stats, and it's got 10 mana cost to prevent it being recalled and sort of played repeatedly. And it's got Fearsome and Overwhelm, 2 keywords that don't really fit in Ionia. But then again, I'm not sure this shadow creature is supposed to fit in Ionia. It's interesting, I don't really like it. I prefer the shadows in Ionia to have elusive and to play around with the ephemeral keyword. This just feels like it's trying to bring harrowing into Ionia, and it's not really doing it in a particularly elegant or balanced way. Having a 12 mana Overwhelm, that's also kind of slow unless you're playing Shadow Isles. It's not really the tempo payoff Ionia is looking for. This is a sort of meh for me. It's a nice idea, it's got some good base ideas, but it's not really the sort of execution I would be hoping for. Next up we have Doubtful Solari. Daybreak give me 3-0 this round. When I see an allied Nightfall, grant me 1-0 up to 3 times. Okay, so this is a story about a Solari sort of becoming jaded to the sort of conflict between the 2 religions and eventually becoming a Lunari. It's interesting. Is it good? It's pretty good. I mean, 2 mana, 4/3 for 1 round, and then it scales off Nightfall. Could it, for example, save the Daybreak plus Nightfall decks? Maybe. Do I like it? It's an epic. I would put it as rare, first of all. And it's kind of interesting. It doesn't make me go, wow, that's the best story you could possibly tell in Targon. But it has me interested. Wanderers of the Lasting Altar. Oh my goodness. Enlighten, when you don't have me on board, pay my cost of summoning from your hand or deck. When I'm summoned, cast Spirit Lesson and shuffle 3 copies of it into your deck. Round start, draw 1. Your hand limit is 15 cards. This is doing everything for 3 mana. It's also a unit for some reason. Shuffle 3 copies of me into your deck, and first and second cast this round, draw 1. There is a lot of story you're trying to tell in just one card, and I feel like you could just pick 1 or 2 of the stories you want to tell in this card and turn it into something smaller, because what you're doing here is you're trying to summarize the entire story of Ionia and Karma into basically a card and a token, which isn't going to work. There's just too much going on here. You need to sort of find the idea that really speaks to you the best and make the card built around that, rather than making a card and trying to fit as much story into it as possible. Next up, Mesmerized Onlooker, 3 mana, 3/2, play Predict. If you pick a landmark or spell, create a fleeting copy of it in hand. Basically, if you don't predict a unit, create a copy of it in hand. I don't see the connection between an Onlooker and the prediction. It's okay. It fits the flavor, and it fits the region of Shurima. I'm not sure what story it's telling. Perhaps I'd need to read up on that after this. But it seems to be pretty solidly designed. I could see it being run in, for example, with Dias or with Zillion Time Bombs. It's pretty versatile. It's an all-round card. Yeah, well done. Oh, I actually saw this one before, but I heard the person changed it. Mother, support. Grant my supported ally 2/2 and mark them. I take damage from marked allies. Last breath. Give marked allies a can't take damage or die this round. This is very interesting. I don't immediately see the connection to Targon, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting design, having this card take damage for marked allies, and especially the implications with, for example, Tarek, granting it can't take damage or die, and having a mother on board that's marked the rest of your board. It's very interesting, the gameplay possibilities with this. So I'd say it's a very interesting idea. I'm not sure about the price point. I like that it marks them permanently, and I sort of like the story it's telling, how the mother takes care of the supported allies, and eventually, if she dies, they sort of that strengthens them in a way. It's interesting. I'm not sure I like it with all my heart, but it's definitely interesting. Next up, we have Noxian Execution. Allies have Fearsome. Play, capture an enemy, count down 2, destroy my captured unit, and create 2 Unsettling Smiles in hand. Unsettling Smile, give an ally Fearsome and all enemies -1/0. This is interesting. I sort of see where it's going with the story here, the story of the gladiator arenas in Noxus. Allies have, I see, so play, capture an enemy, count down 2. It's interesting how it's just a better detain, because it kills the captured unit if the opponent doesn't have an answer to destroy the Noxian Execution. I don't like that. It's sort of treading on Demasia's toes a bit here, and it's sort of killing Detain as a card. But the Unsettling Smile is actually quite a good card, I think. It would be very, very cool with Draven. It's a little bit of a flavor and design miss, but otherwise there are some good ideas here. I like how it's sort of telling the story of the brutal gladiator arenas that got expanded on with the captured snapper in the latest expansion. So I like that. Darken Corruption, drain 5 from an ally. If it survives, granted 5/5. If it dies, transform it into a Darken Host. So either way, you get 5/5 of stats for 5 mana by draining 5 from an ally. Wow, 4 mana, 5/5 Challenger. Interesting. When I challenge an enemy unit, basically grasp it. This is very strong. Imagine doing this on turn 3. You can play this on turn 3, get a 4 mana 5/5 Challenger. That also casts Grasp for free whenever you have the attack token, and also creates a new one of itself when it dies. This is extremely powerful. I like the idea of the Corrupted Host in Shurima, but this is just way too strong. I'm sorry. You need to go back to the design board here and sort of look at other cards which act as engines to try and find a sensible cost for this card. The idea is nice, but it's just a bit too powerful to consider. Wrathful Mishap. This person hasn't used a good editor. Deal 2 to an ally and an enemy, or grant an ally and an enemy a random positive and negative keyword. When you give an ally a negative effect, I grant it 1/1 and a random keyword. What PNZ cards grant negative effects? You pretty much have to run this with Shadow Isles or Ionia, straight off the bat, to get any value out of this. Deal 2 to an ally and an enemy doesn't feel like Piltover and so on either. This feels strangely Shadow Isles. And I don't like the random aspect of the keyword, like, maybe you frostbite your own unit, but what if you grant the enemy Garen Ephemeral? Your opponent's going to be really mad at that. It's interesting. I don't really like it. I think the base idea of going for the oppressed Zornite is good, and the cost of science, but the execution here is quite poor, unfortunately. Next, Jewel Region. Sandsea Captain. Play Predict. If there is at least one treasure in your deck, one will always appear in your prediction. Plunder, draw 1. This is quite strong, but it would be strong only in a certain type of deck, and it sort of balances it. This is a card you would build a deck around. It's very, very interesting. I quite like this one, actually. It's and the sort of contrast of having a sea captain in the middle of a desert. It's also treasure synergy, which hasn't really had much synergy apart from toss, which is quite interesting. And it also has a plunder effect. I think this one hits all the marks. This is quite a nice card. It's a little bit strong for 3 mana, but it's surprisingly, I quite like this one. This one, I think, understood what it meant to tell a story in one card without needing too much text, and it executed it quite cleanly as well. I quite like this card. Okay, next. Oh dear. Aphelios. Nightfall, draw Aphelios. So this is an Aphelios ship. Countdown 20, summon a loon. When you activate another Nightfall, advance me 2 rounds. Your moon weapons are focus instead of slow. That's a good payoff. When you phase, pick between all 5 moon weapons. That is very interesting. It's slow. Summon a loon in 20 rounds when you activate. Realistically, how many Nightfalls are you activating? If you activate about 7, that's 14. You could do this in 6 rounds, maybe. 6 rounds to get focus. Is that a good enough payoff? I think so. I think the speed is a little bit slow, but it has the potential to be very good. You have a loon who's pretty much not removable, and moon weapons are focus speed. That's a pretty good payoff. I think this understands the balance between speed and payoff quite well. It's a little bit slow, and I've seen a lot of loon cards, and this one is actually quite acceptable. This one's quite good. Only problem is the Maris Magnum is the Veiled Temple, which is kind of already used, so that's a shame. But the story it's telling is quite nice, and the balance is surprisingly not bad, so well done to this person on that. Selfless Soldier, last breath if I died in combat, stun the strongest enemy. 3 mana 5, that's... 3 mana 5/2 with upside, but you want this... So I see where you're going with this. You want this one to attack first, and then it stuns the strongest enemy, so that your overwhelm units can get through. This is very good. This is telling a lot and leaving the design and playing around this really open. The stats, I'm not sure about. I think it's balanced. It's sort of on the same level as the current balance we've gotten in the latest gameplay patches. I like this one a lot. It's just simple. It tells the story very effectively, and it provides a good effect that doesn't make Noxus more overpowered and sort of builds on existing archetypes. This is very nice. This is a very clean, good design. Well done to this person. Next up, Shunned Monk. Ionia, 5 mana. I cannot be silenced, but when I attack... Oh, okay. Cannot... that feels like a bit of a silver bullet. Attack, destroy a mana gem and grant me 2/2. This immediately feels like a Shurima card, apart from the elusive, because this is sort of breaking... If this was in Shurima, this would only be breaking sort of one of Shurima's region pie things with the elusive, but it being in Ionia, I get the story it's trying to tell, but it's not the right story, sort of. And also I do not like this I cannot be silenced thing. Like, why not just give it spell shield? Like, how many silences are you expecting to come out? And it doesn't sort of play nicely with the fact that most Ionia buffs are temporary. This one is permanent. It's a little bit of a flavor fail. But it's not a disaster, by any means. It's okay. It's a little weird. It's a little strong. It's okay. The Traveler's Journey. Summon a star to peek in Tiari the Traveler. This is just telling Tiari's story, isn't it? This is just trying to do way too much in one card. What story are you telling here that's not already told with Tiari? That's all I'm gonna leave you with. Dock Tavern, plunder, heal in Bilgewater, okay. Summon Lars. When I'm summoned, draw a pike. That's pretty brave, draw a unit that doesn't exist yet in the game, but that we know is coming, thanks to the skilled Roy for that. When it's summoned or already in play, it strikes me and you draw one. So why is this drunk... I don't really know Pike's storyline, I'm sorry. Why is this drunk storyteller... why does Pike want to kill him? I don't really get this. This is doing a lot for 2 mana as well. It also grants some +1/+0, which is very interesting. It doesn't... That's not something you see very often in Bilgewater. Does it tell a story? Yes. Does it do it in a particularly balanced and elegant way? Not really. Moving on. Vengeful Backai. Play if an Ascended ally misspelled is in play or has leveled up, I strike all units. 6 mana 6/6, strike everything? Why would you play this? What advantage is there? Oh, because it slays. It slays all your friendly units, so it's a payoff for Nasus. I see. This is quite strong. This is very strong, actually. And the problem is, you need to sacrifice something to get the payoff. I get it. I get the need for sacrifice. I get how it ties into Shurima and the Backai. I get that this is Nasus support. It just seems really strong. Like, compare it to the other Backai we have, it's just way too strong. It's interesting, though, how if they see an Ascended, they just get so mad they smack everything. That's quite a nice little bit of story. It's doing alright on the story side, it's just the balance side that's getting gets a bit on shaky ground. Next up, Okay. Nagaka Boros. Play. Kill all undamaged units. Deal damage to the enemy nexus equal to the number of killed units. Wow. Well, that's an ability. That's a skill that's fitting for a god of that size. Does it fit in Bilgewater? I'm struggling. Like, I guess? No? Does it? Is this something you could reliably run with Bilgewater and get payoff for? Question mark? You'd need to run Targon, basically, guaranteed. It's an interesting win con. It deals a lot of damage. Actually, you could also use it with things like Spiderlings, just for an easy 8 mana, 8/10 body, with Deep, by the way, with Shadow Isles, which are already running in Deep. Kill all undamaged units, like maybe you have Nautilus and 4 spiders, you kill the 4 spiders, deal 4 to the enemy nexus while you're Deep, while you have the potential to play more elusive Deep units. It's very strong. It's very strong. Do I like the story? It's interesting. I don't know much about Nagaka Boros, but it's interesting. It would be interesting to see what this person thinks Illaoi would come out with, because I assume that would tie into this a lot. Losing Humanity. Discard 1 to grant an ally augment. If they already have it, create Hextech Heart in hand instead. Wow, 0 mana, discard 1, grant augment. If they have it, when you play a created card this round, create a fleeting exact copy of it in hand. This is very good, actually. This is very fitting. This is quite good. I like this a lot. It tells the story of Victor's Revolution in 2 cards, and that's not an easy feat. It tells the story of losing humanity to gain greater power, and I like how it's flexible, where if you don't have allies that don't have augment already, you can use it on an ally with augment. This is very good. That's it. The Intelligent Tech. If you've summoned 4, it should say 4+, tech this game, reduce my cost by 3, so 10 mana, 8/7 attack, obliterate all units that are not tech, and grant all other tech +1/+1. So basically, this is like, if you manage to have Heimer survive for 4 rounds, you win the game. It also kills Heimer. Very interesting. Is this supposed to be a thing that overthrows Heimer? I don't like how it's also not a skill. That's so like the enemy can't even block, they just get all their units obliterated. Can't play any units. The enemies are already attacking. It's very unfair. It's definitely worse than, say, Star Spring in terms of interactivity, and that's a pretty low bar. It also kills Heimer. Is it something you want to do? I'll leave you with that question. Spectator's Gate. Each time your enemy summons a unit, stun it. Countdown 1, destroy me. 4 mana. 4 mana, skip the enemy's attack. Sure, but it doesn't even stun existing enemies. Why is the Noxus Arena stunning? Is it just they get so wowed by seeing the Gladiator arenas that they just stop attacking? I don't get it. I'm sorry. Pantheon, when you invoke, give me +1/0 this round if I would die after you've invoked 4+ time this game. I level up instead. I like how it's referencing the Warrior's stat line. When you invoke, give me 1/0 this round. Each round the first time you invoke. Ooh, Rally! Each time you invoke, I see. Okay, this would be a bit nuts with Zoe. You could skip to draw 1, grant allies +1/1 in Rally. That's a really good payoff. That's really quite strong. But the flavor is there. The flavor is there. Out of all the Pantheon designs, I prefer this even to my own Pantheon design. And having the cost required to have him survive his death is quite genius, actually. But Is a rally really necessary? It also grants all allies 1/1 permanently. Holy crap. That's really strong with Zoe. It's a little too strong. It's a little too strong. But you got some good ideas here. Amumu, same art, both cards. When a follower enters play, obliterate it to grant me 1/1. Look, I understand he's the lonely mummy, but you can't just create a blanket condition like this. Like, imagine you're playing a championless deck and the enemy plays a Mumu. What do you do? That's really unfair. Like, could you imagine? I want to say to the designer, whenever you design a card, imagine what it would be like to play against it. Imagine playing against this Amumu. In short, you don't really want to. I think you really need to go back to the drawing board. Also, why has he got Challenger and Tough when there's going to be nothing to challenge? Is he just supposed to hug the enemy champion and, like, smack it for 5 damage? Also, attack, give enemies -1/0 when he's not fearsome. Interesting. Is he supposed to be just paired with Nasus? But does this even count for Slay? This is missing a lot of marks. I think you need to reread your cards and really think about what you want your cards to do. Doc Queen Marin. When I'm summoned, draw a follower that can draw a ship. I see. When you draw a specific champion from follower's effect, reduce the champion's cost by 3. Interesting. I like it. It's like, instead of Dock Queen, I'd call her Harbor Mistress or Harbor Master, but it works. It works quite well. It's basically 6 mana, draw a ship, and your ships are better. It's really interesting. I like the flavor. It's a lot of text, but actually the text is really easy to read, and the flavor pays off. And it's quite balanced, actually, as well. It's a sort of slower Bilgewater card, and it's really interesting. Yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like this a lot. When I'm summoned, if you behold more Nightfall than Daybreak cards, grant me elusive. Otherwise, lifesteal if Daybreak is higher. The wording's a bit off. If both are in equal amounts, then grant me both. Not sure if Bystander is the best flavor for a card like this. So I personally would have gone for something else. The text is needs a bit of work. If your native language isn't English, then don't worry. But you could go, for example, to the Discord and ask someone, for example, how can I improve this? How can I make it more in line with Riot's wording? Also, 3 mana, 3/3 elusive lifesteal. Ionia found dead in the ditch. Holy crap. It's okay. It's flavor miss a little bit, balance miss a little bit, text miss. It's okay to ask for help. That's all I'm gonna say. It's okay to ask for help. I ask for help all the time. Noxian Double Agent. When you deal damage to the enemy Nexus, the enemy steals me. Round start, deal 2 to your Nexus. Pass the hot potato, passing the bomb between both players. It's interesting. It sort of becomes a double agent, then a triple agent when the enemy gives it back, then pop, 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 pop. It's very interesting. And also, if you don't manage to damage the enemy Nexus, you just hits your own Nexus. That's quite funny. It's funny. I'm not sure whether it's the best card I've seen in this contest so far, but it's funny. I'll grant it that. Wild Growth. Choose a friendly follower. It grows to 5/5. This could be focus speed, and it's also 2 mana. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Just trying to think how many cards I would be busted with. Pretty good with Sparklefly. That's a very strong card. I made one similar to this. I think 2 is a little cheap, but then again 3 is almost too expensive for this. I think 2 mana grows to 4/4 is a good middle ground. It's using the same art I used for my growth one as well. It's alright. Not my favorite. Not breaking any boundaries. It's alright. The Nox Tora in Shurima. I'm gonna guess that's just an honest mistake. Unless it's supposed to be in Shurima. Grant all units 1-0 for every round an ally struck for more than 5 damage. What? Why would you be playing this without Reputation already? Why would you want to play this before you've activated Reputation? Is this first part even necessary? Because I think you'd only want to play this with Reputation, otherwise it's not worth it. Grant all allies Overwhelm. That's pretty freaking good. It's basically 4 mana, play might on all your units. It's permanent, but only if you have Reputation. That's a little strong. If you have 5 allies, that's like a lot of value. That is so much value. And all you have to do is activate Reputation, which, despite what people think, is quite easy to activate if you're playing the right decks. This is really strong. The flavor is there, assuming this is supposed to be a Noxus card. The flavor is good. The balance is not good. Luon Khan, 4 mana, 4/4 play, reduce the cost of a card in hand by 1. It's pretty much spot on balance. I'm not sure about the flavor, actually. Let's see if they wrote any. Giant spirit animals. I see. This is simple, but it fits the bill. It's not like making me go, wow, that's amazing, that is really what tells the story of Ionia. It's telling one of the stories from Ionia, and it's telling it quite well. It's also perfectly balanced and perfectly synergizes with Ionia's tempo. It's a very good card. Well done. The Betrayer of Cloudfield. Start of game, if your deck has mostly Noxian cards, interesting. Transform all copies of me everywhere into Trifarian War Mason. 10 mana 6/6 Overwhelm Aura. Level up all level 1 ally Noxus champions on the board. Okay. Attack, summon as many attacking units from your hand or deck as possible that have 5 or more power, and then grant them Overwhelm. I don't know who this person is supposed to be. I understand the story of betraying Demacia for Noxus. It's very strong. It's doing a lot of things at once, and you need to go back to the drawing board in terms of the strength of this, because this puts War Mothers in the bin. This puts Feel the Rush in the bin. It's interesting the region changes when it transforms, though. That's interesting. Good on you for coming up with that. Dawning Shadow. Revive the strongest ally that died this round and double its power and health. Ooh, dual region. Wow, it's very strong. Like, I can imagine using this on some units and it will make them, like, monstrously strong. It fits the flavor of Demacia Shadow Isles, though. It fits it quite well. It leaves quite an open book as well for how to play with it. It's quite good. The design here is quite good. Trindamir's Corruption. Holy shit. If this gets recalled, can you just, like, not play it anymore? Why does it have 3 keywords and vulnerable? That just slapping vulnerable on an extremely powerful unit doesn't make it balanced. And Trindamir has to be slain by the opponent, so you can't... I understand that it's not like you can cheese it out with Spectral Matron or something. This sort of makes me go, eh? Sort of feels like you're inserting your own canon cannon into the existing Rune Terror cannon, and you're not doing it in a very elegant or balanced way. That's all I'll say. Mountain Herbalist. Nightfall, I transform into Mountain Stalker. After you activate a Daybreak effect, I transform into Mountain Herbalist. Ooh. Am I just missing something here, or is this just, at worst, a vanilla 3-mana 3/3 elusive? Which I don't think exists anywhere close, balance-wise, in the game already. I like how you can sort of make your game plan more flexible. It's interesting. It's not balanced. It's interesting. And it's a werewolf. So that's pretty cool. It's cool, but it's not balanced. This is my card. This is what I submitted. The Final Silence. Play combine all dead allies into the Final Silence to gain their stats and keywords. Thank you, Sifter, for helping me with the wording on this one. So, my main criticisms with this design are you don't know how big it's going to be and what keywords it's going to have before you play it. But I think it's a really suitable Shadow Isles game ender you can run with, for example, Hecarim or Nocturne or anything like that. And the flavor is supposed to be it represents the death beyond death, the second death that, for example, the Winds and the Wave are referencing. I'll leave it up to you. What do you think of my card? I hope you like it. Junk Hoarder, 5 mana, 1/5. I have 1/0 for every card in your hand. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, I have Elusive. If not, I have Overwhelm. What is the deal with giving Piltover and Zorn Overwhelm? It has so much burn already. This thing also has 5 health, and if you have like 9 cards in your hand and you play this, it's a 5 mana 9/5 Overwhelm in Piltover and Zorn, the Burn region. I immediately dislike this. I'm sorry if this is offending you, but I immediately dislike this. I'm sorry. Back to the drawing board. Lost Explorer. Ooh, spooky. Last Breath. Refill the spell mana of the player that slayed me. Oh, wow. I could see this being like a 2 mana 2/2 or 2/3. 5 mana is a bit high, because you're gonna need to really want to get this payoff for Shadows, but then again, making it such a high cost. Considering you can basically get this for free with Prodigy as a 4 mana 4/4 already, this needs to be lower cost. The flavor here is really cool though. Just needs a little bit of tweaking in the numbers. Next up, Things in the Woods. Play or round start, shuffle all your allies. Your allies masquerade as Fascinating Flora. Void. Interesting. So this is trying to tell the story of spooky monsters that you don't know what they are until they hit you and it's too late. Quite interesting. Is it balanced? It would be a pain to play against. Not sure if it's that balanced, but certainly interesting. I wouldn't like to play against it. And it's telling a story for a region we don't have yet, so not the greatest idea in my opinion. Test subject. Last Breath. If an allied source killed me, draw 1. If you drew a follower, granted Toxic. Deals damage to units in the form of -1/1. I'm not really sure what this does. Does that mean that whenever this strikes something, it loses 2 power as well? I can't really judge what this means. If an allied source killed me, draw 1 is quite interesting because normally PNZ doesn't have a lot of self-targeted stuff, but this would make you want to use it in a self-targeted way. That's interesting, but I'm not really sure what Toxic is doing. Anyway, different path. Give an ally ephemeral to give an ally barrier. It should say grant an ally ephemeral to grant an ally barrier, but, well, should it? I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm getting too hung up on the wording. This is a perfect execution of the prompt, I think. This is just the most simple, eloquent execution of this prompt possible. This is excellent, actually. I really don't have any comments on this other than, it's extremely good. I like this a lot. I really like this card. Moving on. Solari Envoy. Daybreak. The next card with Daybreak you play next round. Next round? Interesting. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Costs 1 less. Nightfall. It is always day for us the next round. Interesting choice. Why is this a skill? Also, why is this a skill? They don't have to be skills. They just have to be highlighted. And interesting payoff if you manage to activate both Daybreak and Nightfall. 1 mana 1/1. Is it worth the 1 cost reduction? Is it worth this? Potentially not. It's a little weak. The art doesn't really match either. But it's interesting. Not sure if the story it's telling is the best, but it's interesting, that's for sure. Black Rose Bloodseeker. Play. You can play me as Crimson Sanguinist. Strike. Create a random Crimson unit in hand and transform me into Crimson Sanguinists. When I survive damage, create in hand a random Noxus unit with 5 power and transform me into Black Rose Bloodseeker. Wow, these are good stats for an engine this strong. Wow, and it's gonna be pretty much... Yeah, that's a lot of value you're getting. But I guess it is 4 mana, which is quite late for when you want to be doing this. It's very interesting. I'm not sure if it's too powerful or not. Wait, what are you doing here? But it is interesting how it's linking the Black Rose and the Crimsons. Although I guess they're inextricably linked anyway. Yeah, it's alright. It's alright. Reactant Nexus. Allies that would die after the next round start instead in Piltover and Zorn. Right? Round start, deal 2 to both players for each Puffcaf played or caught. Did they mean this to work in this way? Like you play like 3 Chump Wumps and you instantly one-shot both Nexuses and force a draw? This person needs to proofread their cards. Also 2 pretty random effects slapped together on the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna move on before I lose brain cells. Borum Dark Will costs 1 less for each damage dealt to the enemy Nexus this round. Play summon an ally from your deck that costs 1 less than me. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. That is pretty spicy. Realistically, how much? So like, if you get like him down to 4 cost, summon an ally that costs 1 less. That's pretty good value. He also has Barrier Noxus, which I don't really understand, because unless you're running him with Rally, you won't get much value out of the side of the Barrier. It's interesting. I'm not sure if I like the story completely. I think it's going in some good directions. Same with the balance. Maybe this is a bit too expensive if anything. But yeah, it's alright. The Grey Peace Coalition. Landmark. Round end, pay 2 mana, or the difference in health, to deal 3 to a unit, huh? Round start, the cost is increased by 1. I'm really struggling to understand this. Also, why is this 1 mana? Also, why does it always cost 2 mana? Huh? Yeah, I don't understand this at all. Alright. Bolvo the Braggart. When I'm summoned, increase my power until I am the strongest. I love it. I love it. This is great. This is great, because you... Yeah. This is really cool, because you can choose when to play it. You can choose to play it early, get a big power spike, or you can save it for later, maybe profit off the enemy playing Nasus or they who endure or something. That's really fun. That's really fun and cute. I like it. Forbidden Lovers, it's always day and night for us. Why didn't you use, like, art of Diana and Leona? No, I'm just kidding. Interesting. It's nice, it's cute. It's nice and it's cute, and it's balanced, but I would never want to see this card printed. Sorry, I'm being honest. Darkin Soul. When I'm summoned, the strongest ally captures me. Grant that ally my stats and keywords. Ooh. Ooh, this is like a better execution of the other Darkin card we had. This is like ominous. This is like really scary. Ooh, that's a lot of lifesteal though. That is a lot of lifesteal you're getting. That's like quite scary. Like, and no downsides. The ally that captures, there's only this cost and tempo, and it persists as long as you have an ally on board. You'll get infinite value out of this. Whoa, that's a lot for 2 mana. It's a bit too strong. The story is there. It's almost perfect. Goes after the strongest unit each time to balance. Need to think of some of the edge cases here. Backpack. Recall a friendly spell to your hand and reduce the cost by 1, draw a card. This is funny. Thank you for the comic relief. It's an interesting mechanic too. This is the fucking... Well done for making me laugh. 4. Demonic Torturer. The first time you play a card each round, deal 2 to the weakest enemy. Holy crap. And draw 1 fleeting. Holy crap. If you've leveled a Swain, your fleeting cards cost Nexus health instead of mana. That's almost a disadvantage. What is this card doing? That's like 10 mana value here. No, not really. That's a lot. That's a lot of value. And it has a keyword, and it almost has positive stats. And it has like a level up that you don't even want. Just cut the second half out, increase the cost by a little bit, make it not conflict on cost point with Swain. You've got a great card. Also draw 1 fleeting in Noxus. I don't know if I like that. And Noxus aggro. Okay. Loyal Mage Warden. When I capture an enemy, silence. Whew! That's some spicy synergy there. That is very interesting. Another card you'd want to build a whole deck around. Is it too oppressive? Perhaps. Like, I've seen people saying, like, if Tahm Kench was just a little bit stronger, he would be just so oppressive because of his ability to just capture things and obliterate them. And this is the same. I'm not sure if this would be too strong. The flavor is here. The flavor here is good. It's good. The armor is a little weird, but we'll overlook that. But the balance, it would be very hard to tell without actually printing this and seeing it run. Brotherly Love. Aw, look at them. Round start. Draw 1 of me if an Ascended ally is in play. Interesting. Each round end, slay your weakest adept to grant all enemies vulnerable allegiance reduced by cost to 1. Each round end. What's an adept? Also, this is 8 mana. Allegiance reducing my cost to 1. You're pretty much forcing it to be in a mono Shurima deck here. It's an interesting effect though, but I don't see why I'd run copies of this over copies of Ruthless Hunter, I'm not gonna lie. I like the art and the title though, it's really clever, the art and the title. Synchronize, advance or prolong a landmark 1 round. This is simple and sweet. This is nice. This is nice for Shurima landmark control. I like it. It's clever. Very nice. Valiant Adventurer, play. Deal 1 to me equal to my cost. When you see me in a prediction, reduce the cost of all allied copies of me everywhere by 1. Just thinking if this would be too strong. So you, like, for example, if you see it twice, it's 3 mana 5/6 over 5. No, 3 mana 5/3 overwhelm that you can heal. 3 mana 5/3 overwhelm. You can heal it, and all copies of it everywhere. 3 mana 5/3, only going to get better throughout the game. It's interesting. Not sure what the flavor is, seeing him in the prediction. Not sure what the flavor is, dealing 1 to him equal to his cost. But it kind of works, even though I don't fully understand the flavor, it works. Sort of. It's okay. It's not the best I've seen here, but it's okay. And finally we have Tearful Legionnaire. Play, summon a Nightly Memory. If you've slain 4+ units this game, I kill it. When I'm slain by an allied card, summon a Tearful Legionnaire. There should be a last breath effect, probably last breath. If I was slain by an ally, summon a Tearful Legionnaire. Interesting. But this is like 5 mana 8/10 of stats. What are you doing? +1 slay effect. What are you doing? That is so strong. And they're both fearsome. At worst, it's 5 mana 6/8. 4/5 of which is fearsome. That's a lot. That's a lot of stats you're putting on for 5 mana, but yeah, the flavor is cool. The flavor is cool. The balance needs a little bit of looking at, but the idea is nice. And that's the end of all the cards. Blimey, that took me a while. So, the way voting works, if you don't know, you can select as many cards as you want to vote for. The best 5 will go to Argon and the Skilled Roy, and then they'll choose their favorite of them. So yeah, vote for as many cards as you want. Feel free not to listen to any of my criticisms. That is your own personal choice. But I wish everyone good luck, and I can't wait to see who wins. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry if this was a bit rocky. It's my first time doing a video like this. And I hope to see you soon. Bye!